Pardon me, party people, if I am losing my voice here, but we have today's episode, which I have so gracefully titled, and it would really explain my experience I have personally had. We have a lot of little things going on behind the scenes here. No, still need to improve that, it seems like. Um, but in any case, there we go. Now we have some basic energy income. Slap this down, I guess, a little bit more now. Just a little bit. And let's get a factory going. So now, this is today's episode. We have this little guy, the Mars Tech Auslander. Look at this. Ain't this spiff? This is the finished model, and I really like how this came out, actually. This is really nice. This is actually like textbook perfect. Really crisp. Yeah, so now we have icons for this. We have a bunch of stuff actually for this. Let's go and print this guy. We can see his guns are down in this one, and he's just vibing there. His little blue color. Getting transformed. And we're going to build this guy at a pretty steady rate because we made sure to have enough income. Let's see. And boom. Okay, there we go. Yeah, there we go. He's there we go. Yeah, it's wow, it's amazing, right? He's what he's doing is he's fucking looping an animation and blending to and from that animation. This is an extremely trivial task if you want to use, I don't know, Unreal Engine 1 as a basis, where it was incredibly simple to do it there. But no, unfortunately, it was like French kissing sandpaper. Sandpaper. I think I sat through 3 hours of tutorials today, plus 1 hour of frantic debugging, which turns out that a bunch of stuff went wrong. I might make a video talking about it. But basically, something inside the basic editor itself completely failed to connect and just nulled out the very first animation state machine I ever made. Just invalidating it until you delete it and make a new one. That's a really great first experience on what is already an obnoxious fucking process. And if that wasn't bad enough, the entire process of actually getting um any of this linked up, any of this hooked up, any of this like connected in the first place was also a nightmare because I had to instantiate everything because you can't make an animation tree purely with code. That's not allowed. Then I had to instantiate an animation tree, and then I had to link it to my GLB imported scene. Except, oops, you can't reference the animation player inside the GLB scene because it's a pre-packed scene, but you can still manually type in a reference with a format you won't be familiar with to directly link to the scene like you could with code anyways. Okay. So a whole bunch of bullshit. Massive, massive headache. But I wanted to make sure that we had a means of tweening animations and looping animations and etc. before we go much further with a little army guy we're working on. Also, it's much easier to animate this mech than it is an army guy, so this is a nice place to test out a lot of this tech. Make sure I know what I'm doing. There's things I would improve about this, certainly given the chance. But as far as the first draft goes, this isn't half bad. What we really need is a jump animation, because right now he does this. His little run animation while jumping, which is a little goofy. Um, and there's a pretty good means by which I could fix that and improve that. And look at this. Now we're in the white hours of the daylight. Oh, isn't this like so much prettier? This is the original machine. Has a nice light gray paint job, nearly white in fact, with an even brighter anchor and some darker highlights, and that nice yellow reflective glass, and just a little bit of cell shading on that grappling hook. But I did it the fake way you do cell shading, which is to say I made a copy, applied solidify modifier of 0.03 thickness in this case, um, converted that to its own object, flipped all the normals, and then imported it, merged it, and slapped it back together again. There's things that can be better about that as far as fake cell shading goes, but for like on a budget, just trying to do things really basic without getting involved in any like shaders or anything like that, this is plenty fine. This does the job exactly as required. I'm really happy with this. I think this has turned out really stellar. We even have these little icons here on the little bar. And yeah, I'm going to be finishing up the jump animation, the attack animation, etc. But as far as like the very basics go, this is pretty good so far. You can see they have this little functionality I accidentally just triggered, where if they're bumping into each other, they also don't play a running animation because they're kicking each other around. That's intended functionality. It does that Firstly, because it's already physics variables I was using, but also secondarily because it avoids playing running animations while just getting bumped around while basically standing still otherwise. That's a nice little thing. Maybe I'll make a tutorial talking about the animation tree if anyone here wants me to make a video talking about that. There are so many pitfalls that are insanely stupid on levels I cannot even quantify. I went through like 3 or 4 different tutorials in the process of making this one setup, and all of them were leaving out incredibly basic things I thought needed to be communicated much more clearly. Um, so much running before they teach you how to walk. It was absolutely obnoxious. I absolutely hated this entire process, and I am still of the mentality that this entire pipeline for animation tree is frankly unnecessary. But instead of adding simple tools to solve a simple problem, they went with the fucking javelin missile launcher to kill a housefly approach. Whatever. I don't care. It works. It works. It's, a while back I actually wrote my own animation manager where I just animated things by code, which is really ugly and really shitty, and you shouldn't write your own animation that way, but I did it for a very simple project for very simple means. And I can tell you that tweening animations is not hard. I am an untrained hack with no good education behind him who has never studied anything on how you write any of this methodology. And it was probably about 5 times easier for me to write this entire thing from scratch in GD script than it was just to use my first animation tree. Frankly, sad. No other word for it. I don't know if I just really suck that bad at understanding fucking pipelines, which, frankly, that's not even the entire story even then. Or if I'm just that good at writing animation code that I don't even need to be taught how to do it. It just comes to me by instinct. I don't know. It's dumb. It's stupid. I hate it. There's so much crap I really just loathe about it. But hey, we're here, and hopefully we'll have some more updates with some other animations. Vehicle animations would be really easy to crank out, so I might do some of those. Those would be cool. Of course, the hard part's going to be actually, modeling the vehicles. Again, very pretty light we're seeing this in right now. This is nice. Catching it in the moonlight with very little daylight from the red dwarf. Speaking of red dwarfs, I also did one last thing that I can't demonstrate here, but I will mention. And this is truly the last thing before I finish rattling off random shit in this video. Is I actually wrote a piece of code that is able to write, it's not able to write anything yet. It's able to generate a set of attributes at random for a given planet. And that is because I want there to be a cooperative mode in this game where you have like a campaign, you can play through a campaign, it'll probably be like 10 planets, each planet being like several battles long, a good amount of playtime for sure. But, like, the actual, like, focus is going to be after we've done the campaign, instead of just playing through story beats over and over and over again, just let us play the game, right? Just have, like, a skirmish mode. But we don't really wanna sit down and play against players as, like, the primary focus. I think there's enough of that in the RTS scene, and frankly, it's very casual, unfriendly. It filters a lot of people out of the genre, and I'm more interested in providing a co-op experience than I am anything else. So what we're going to be doing instead actually is adding procedurally generated planets that can have, oh, what's our orbit like? What's our star like? How many stars do we have? What class of star? What type of atmosphere do we have? What kind of volcanism, tectonic activity? Do we have water? Is it water or ammonia or etc.? A whole bunch of different attributes you can dream up. And it'll pull these out of a hat at random, and you can reroll planets, I imagine, in the game mode, because there probably is actual hell of a planet you could roll up. But these would produce a list of modifiers that would be potential challenges and potential upsides. So you'd have to kind of think about that, play that carefully, and if it goes right, maybe you can have a fun battle that you can sit down for and do a handful of battles in this procedurally generated world. Probably pull a color palette out of my ass. Maybe do one of two things. Either A, take a bunch of good pieces of terrain, mirror them, and tile them together in segments to create a map on the fly, or because I think that would be a bad approach, what I would probably do is I would probably take a good size, like a few dozen maps that would be out of like good pre-built map terrain that doesn't suck and is really fun to play on. And we get like some good quality maps that way. And then we take those and we just recolor those and we retint those and maybe we resize certain elements. I don't know. There's little things you could do to like try and make it feel a little less copy paste, but ultimately we'd be trying to play on good maps for good gameplay, and the modifiers to the planet would be the most important part more than anything else. I would love to show some more on that, but that is literally just a text generator at this point. So, maybe I'll have something I can post in a few weeks if I'm lucky, but I don't think it's going to be even that soon. Anyways, thank you all for watching. And this was your daily dose of French kissing sandpaper.